Welcome to From Caving In to Crushing It, the podcast for those who find themselves immersed in adversity and choose to write their story instead of having others write it for them. I'm Drew Durrani, and I'm your host. Hey, Vinny, it's good to see you.
It's great to see you. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So I have to thank, I always thank the person who introduced me to my guests. So once
Yeah.
again, Priscilla Lido, thank you for introducing me to Vinny. It's been a cool journey. I know she's been doing a lot of stuff since the time I met her to now, and we're going to get into that. But Priscilla Lido, thank you so much for introducing me to Vinny. So, folks, you guys always know in the beginning, I talk about how when we're young, we're taught by our family and friends and everybody around us that life's a straight line. It's linear. If we do A plus B plus C, D's going to happen. And for the most part, life is linear until it's not.
Mhm.
Ultimately, an external circumstance gets in the way of one of those letters and kind of derails our straight path in life to a more circuitous one. When that happens, that means adversity has now reared its ugly head. And some of us see the adversity and some of us don't. The ones who don't, I call man or woman number one. They're the ones with blind spots. They don't see the adversity because they're living the life other people told them to live, and they don't even know when something changes. I don't have that person on the show. Then you have man or woman number two. They're the ones who do see the adversity, yet they say that the adversity is a barrier. It stops them from making changes. It is what it is. Life is doing it to them, and they choose not to make any changes. And on their deathbed, they've got a ton of regrets. I don't have them on the show. I have man or woman number three on the show. That's the individual who sees the adversity, calls the adversity an opportunity instead of a barrier. They say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm going to take some massive action, become a stronger man or woman on the other side. That's who I have on the show. And I have Vinni Taneja tonight on the show. And she is definitely woman number three. Wait till you hear her story. So Vinny, if you could reach back as far as you need to for that defining moment in life, whether it's the tap on the shoulder, it was a whisper in the ear, or like what I needed was the two by four upside my head, that
Mhm.
kind of transformed you and how that transformation impacted you personally and professionally. We'd love to hear your story.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I think there was a couple things that happened to me when I was 16. I actually had a voice in my room, and back then there was no TV or phone, or like all I had was a radio in my room.
Right.
And I like heard a little bit of I swear it was the voice of God. And so I was like, okay. And then I always knew like as a child I wanted to help people. So th there was like little clues along the way. Then
Mhm.
my dad got sick and was diagnosed in 2006. That was a major defining moment for me where I felt like this is a bit of a wake-up call. Now he's being forced into retirement. And another defining moment, I would say, was when I reached the pinnacle of my career as a chief people officer and the job that I basically thought was my dream job. And I end up working for this company and it's not. And then I remembered at that point, I was like, okay, ever since I was a child, I had magical gifts, I would say. I remember my dad being diagnosed and forced into retirement. And now I'm in a job where I'm in the pinnacle of my career and I feel like my job's going to kill me. So, do I want to repeat the cycle or do I want to get out and really do what I was meant to do and follow my soul's purpose?
Right.
So, there were clues along the
Yep.
way.
Yep.
And then I feel that jumped through so many hoops, went through a tedious interview process to get this executive job, and then basically knew it didn't align with me on many levels and my values. And I walked out of my corporate job in New York City, and 2 months later, I was on a plane to Nepal. So yeah, a little bit of eat, pray, love
Oh
going
my
on.
gosh. Oh my God. All right. So there's so much to unpack here. So at age, was it 16 you heard the voice of God? Okay.
Yes, I did. I did.
And there were no blind spots. You heard it.
Oh, I heard it. Yeah.
And at that point, what did you choose to do with that?
I actually went vegetarian. So like in growing up, I was like mainly Hindu, and like in our belief system, like we don't eat animals, but it's not just about eating it. It's like actually energy, right? Like you're
Right.
consuming energy. And I was eating everything. And and I started to feel lighter, and it was very odd at that time to, to become vegetarian. It's like you were like a weirdo,
Right.
like
Yeah,
now.
it's
And
different,
so,
different mindset.
but yeah, but I actually started to feel lighter and more in tune and like more conscientious. And
Okay.
then so that was one of the things. And then when my dad was diagnosed, I went down a deep dive of a lot of research. And now you have to understand, back in 2006, there were no like Facebook groups and social
Right.
media. All like you had to really research like old school.
Old
And so
school. Yeah.
and then in 2010, and this is all while I'm raising a family and climbing the corporate ladder, I ended up going to nutrition school in the city, learning a lot about nutrition. So as I was climbing the corporate ladder, raising a family, and then also studying lots of different holistic methodologies. Like I also got certified with Reiki in 2009. And I think
Right.
subconsciously, I knew it was going to blow up my life.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't at that point, yeah, you were doing two contrasting things. The
Very
executive
contrast.
life and the holistic life are misaligned in many ways. So
Yes.
you were going to turn at some point.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I would like reach
Yeah.
the pinnacle and then be like, oh, let me just blow up my life now.
Right.
But
Right.
I really had to make a decision. And I was really influenced by how seeing my dad go through what he did. He also used to work in New York City, and also seeing my mom deteriorate by being his caretaker. And it really inspired me to not to break that cycle,
Mhm.
because I come from, a long cycle of, the belief system of like work hard, work hard, work hard,
Right.
work hard, work hard. And I know that we don't come to earth just to work hard, pay bills, and die. Like that's not
Right.
the
No.
point.
No.
So,
At least I hope not.
yes.
Jeez.
So
So, and
yeah,
you
I
were
really, and this is before corporate quitting was a thing, right? So this is
right.
in
Right.
2018, towards like the last quarter. And corporate quitting, that terminology came out post COVID, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right. Right.
again, I've always been like that trailblazer, that pioneer. Like I was talking about GMOs, like even before I went to New, I remember in 2008, I was talking about GMOs, and everybody's like, "What's a GMO?" And I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like, So I've always kind of been someone who
All right.
likes
What
to
is a
study.
GMO?
Oh, so
Yeah.
genetically modified
There we
organisms.
go.
So yeah, so like Monsanto and everybody kind of knows now, but like
Right. Right.
it's also 2026 versus
Hmm.
2008 when you're at a picnic and saying, "Hey, don't eat that corn, it's GMO." And they're like, "What are you even talking about?" You know what I
Right. Right.
mean?
Right. Well, a lot of
So
people think that corn's natural. Isn't corn is not, is it? It's not, right?
well, the problem with corn is most majority of it is genetically modified, and you don't want to consume something like that.
Right.
And so it's actually more detrimental than it is a positive thing for you.
Oh,
So
and I
try
like
to
corn
try to eat
too.
organic. Well, if you, I mean, it's really hard to get pure organic corn, even if they
Yeah.
say it's because of the cross contamination. But
Right.
if no, I would highly recommend like everything in moderation. So if
Moderation
summer you
anyway.
want a
Yeah.
corn on the cob, fine, but
There
like
you go.
don't eat it like 5 times a week.
Right. 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 Absolutely. So during while you were going to school for the holistic stuff and being in the executive thing, you were married at the time, so you had a very supportive husband.
Yes, I mean, I think that, let's be honest, like I don't think it was like, oh my God, I'm so supportive. Like you have to educate people. Like, what are you
Right.
doing? And like
Right.
I have to make them understand, like, my daughter and my husband, and like, well, I really, and they know me, right? Like they know that I'm like this person who loves like healthy stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm really, it's my passion. And
Right.
I was the girl with like rice milk in her fridge in college. Like I was going to the
Okay.
health store, and it's not saying I didn't have fun and eat junky food in college, but I just always had a passion
Right.
and was always drawn to being healthy and helping others be healthy. But I will say that I am very thankful to my husband. He has been very supportive on my journey, but that did not come without education. I don't want to be false about it. I think
Right.
that you have to educate people and bring them along and open their eyes and say,
Right. He
well,
didn't blindly support you no matter what you
right,
do. You had to at least give him a good
right.
reason why. Because of course, I'd want to know. I'd want to have an idea, like out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Why are you doing? So if you were into the health and the holistic stuff, earlier, and then what put you in the path of that whole accounting executive thing? Did you believe you had to do that because dad was a hard worker, or what?
Yeah, so basically my parents gave me like three choices for my education. Like they're like,
Okay.
you can be an accountant, you can be an engineer, or you can be a doctor. So my dad was already
Oh,
a civil engineer. My brother was already on the path to being a doctor. He's 7 years older than me. So I kind of like was like process of elimination, I guess accounting I'll do, but it's not something I
okay.
was passionate about. Like I
Got it.
did not
Got it.
want to major in accounting. That was not my idea, like of, oh my God, my dream job is to like go work
Right.
in accounting, but I was, I was so dedicated to making my parents proud,
Right.
because hardworking immigrants. My mom was a teacher in India. My dad was a civil engineer. They came here and did that, and so I felt like compelled to make sure. And my brother's 7 years older than me, so he was sort of a sibling and sort of a father figure. And I just feel
Right.
everybody's sacrifice. Like I didn't want to let anyone down. So again,
Right.
to talk about linear, like go to college, make sure that you major in a proper thing, like in a proper, not like a psychology and nothing against psychology. I love psychology, but like
Right. Right.
I couldn't say that to my family. And
No.
then sure
Right.
you have a job offer before you graduate,
Wow.
which I did with the number one accounting firm, Arthur Anderson, which is where I met Priscilla, right? So,
There you go.
and
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and then I decided I really don't want to do this after a few years. And then I made a career change into, recruiting and then climbed the corporate ladder within in the HR field. And got
Okay. All right.
25 years
Mm-hmm.
of corporate experience,
Right.
more than 20 within the human resources. And I thought, right, I thought I was helping people the way I was supposed to within human
Right.
resources. But it was like there's a cap because you're still in a corporate environment and it's
Sure.
not to the level that I want, which is spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, and energetically,
Right.
And
That's true.
so
Yeah.
so I was following the linear path as I was programmed to do,
Right.
both from my family and from society.
Right.
And then I blew up my life and said, okay, now I'm going to take accountability and somehow find my way into a
Right.
place where I am happy and doing. And it was against the social norm. Like people are like, you're leaving without a job, and you're like, what are you going to do? And I'm
Right.
like, I'll figure it out.
Figure it out. Well, so when you did leave corporate, how was dad at the time physically?
No, he had passed, but
He had passed.
he had passed. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So I have a very challenging question then, and feel free not to answer if you don't want to.
Mhm.
If dad hadn't gotten sick, and would you have made the move to leave corporate and do what you're doing now?
I think that's a hard question to answer
I
because it's
agree.
not the reality of the situation, but I
Very
will
true.
answer it this way,
Very true.
that it was very inspirational to me, and still till this day is to me that I make it a point to live my life as much as I can in the present and not wait for retirement or wait for this
Good
or
for
wait
you.
for that.
Okay.
So I can't say definitive yes or no, but I can say to you,
Mm,
his journey, and I have
right.
chills, so it's like a confirmation,
Hmm.
inspired me
Got it.
and
Hmm.
to make that choice.
I see. It makes
And
sense to
and I
me.
remember my mom saying to me, like,
Hmm.
Vin, my real name is Vandana, my nickname's Vinny, and my close folks call me Vin, like all my close people. So she's like, Vin, I think this job's gonna kill you. And my mom is a very conservative person. She would never tell me to leave like a
Right.
role without having something, but she
Right.
knew like how
She
much
knew.
duress and stress I was under,
Yeah.
and she like called me on it. And so even for my mom
Yeah.
to say that to me, like I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's not just about me providing for my family, it's about me actually being healthy and present for my family.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And without being healthy and present, it's hard to provide the best
Right.
way you can, right? So
Right.
so you made that change, you left, and what did you do when you left?
So basically I gave, my notice and
Yeah.
I left my role and I kind of was like, what am I gonna do? And I was
Yeah.
asking the universe for a sign.
Right.
And so I'm gonna go back to a moment. So back when I was 21 and
Yep.
working for the Anderson, I was always called to go to Nepal for some reason. And I found
Mhm.
out later on through some Akashic records. Akashic records is when they go into your soul's journey. And this is a sidebar that I actually was one of my past lives. I lived in Nepal as a boy, so now it made that
Okay.
connection. When I was 21, I
Yep.
wanted to volunteer with an organization that actually delivered supplies to orphanages. But I couldn't
Hmm.
go and do this because I was working like 60, 70 hours a week. And I'm like,
Right.
for some reason, I'm called to Nepal. For some reason, I'm called to Nepal. And then I asked the universe for a sign. I'm like, I need a sign of what I want to do and like what to do, right? And then I was on LinkedIn and I believe I was actually looking for some roles and
Yeah.
still kind of like trying to follow the linear way, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And this video I saw of this woman, and she was talking about how she started an orphanage and was helping kids in Nepal. And I was like, all right, that's it. Like
There it
there's
is.
no way, like
Yeah.
20 something years later, like there's just no way. And I was like, again, chills and confirmation on that. So I was like, oh my God, the last thing I want to do, and one thing I always wanted to do was get my yoga certification, but I never
Right.
had the time and dedication
Right.
to
Right. Right.
do it, like to immerse myself. And so I had all these other certifications and all this other education. And I said, I'm going to incorporate my wellness business. And the last thing I'm going to do is get my yoga certification. And I'm going to go to Nepal to do it. Because if I go to India, then I'll have family obligations and I can't be
Right.
like, sit down and have chai and all that. I'm supposed to be
Right.
just focusing on my education of
Right.
yoga.
Absolutely.
So and I did my due diligence. Did some research. I found a beautiful yoga shala, and I immersed myself. And I went and I got on a plane, and then I came back and I incorporated Chakra Wellness. And now, in January, it was 7 years since my business has been in.
Wow.
You know,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. Like it's been a beautiful 7 year journey so far, and I'm just going to keep going and
Good for you.
keep helping others and just, really trying to spread the light and the health. And yeah,
Well, I'll tell you, and I thank you for sharing because there's a lot of context behind the switch from corporate to what you're doing now. Because from the time you were 16, probably even younger,
yeah,
you knew you were going to be where you are now, but didn't just know how it was going to transpire. Because,
that is correct.
you know,
That is correct.
so this journey seems a little more linear for you than the actual, the
If
rest
you
of the
want to know
stories.
something, like when I was really small, like I would
Yeah.
like walk around my house and I'd be like, save the whales, save Mother Earth. And then I would see like, and my family's like, what is up with this child? And I'm
I
like, we
love it.
need to help everybody. And then
I
I would
love
watch these, like I still remember the Christian Children's Fund, and they would like show these orphans in like
Oh, yep.
India. And then I remember
Yep.
going to India and seeing these kids on the street in New Delhi. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to do
Do
something to raise
something.
the
Yeah.
vibrational frequency to
Yeah.
help children, to help people. Like
Yeah.
I always was this person, and you're right, I was very young and I was always like
Right.
feeling things and feeling the world and
Mhm.
wanting to help the world and wanting to help people. Always,
I
always.
love it. I love it. So let's get into chakra wellness and what you're doing now to help people and to help yourself, because I know you've got
Yeah,
to self-care is very important. So you got to help yourself
absolutely.
before you help others. So tell me a little about your business and how it really doesn't feel like a business to you.
It doesn't feel like a business to me because I'm doing what my soul's purpose is.
Right.
And when you do what your soul's purpose is, it doesn't feel like work. That's just as simple as it is.
Right.
I know this is my calling. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. And I have a multitude of services I offer. Like just yesterday evening, I had these two women come here for personalized sound healing. And so one of the services that I offer is chakra balancing, Reiki, and sound healing all in one.
Hmm.
And one woman, she turned 50, and the other woman is a couple years younger, and she got it for her as a birthday gift.
Oh,
And
wow.
I love when people give me as a birthday gift, and it was amazing. And they both were so stressed out. One is a single mom, one is a mom of two teenage girls, and they both have like demanding jobs. And they just came in and they're like, we're just looking for peace. We just want to feel good. We're just really stressed out. And by the end, like you could just tell like they were so much calmer, which will now trickle into their family,
Right.
right? Like into their
Exactly.
children and
Yep.
into their
Hmm.
loved ones. And they were like, it's so comforting to know you're here for us and to guide us and to
Right.
help us feel better. And so I checked their energy centers, I balanced their energy centers, I did sound healing for them, I put some of the bowls on them. I guided them through breath work. I basically helped them just to really get out of that sympathetic fight or flight, high cortisol,
Right. Right.
into the parasympathetic rest, digest, be
Hmm.
calm, be present.
Right.
and this is why I do what I do, because the amount of text and the amount of feedback I get,
Hmm.
is nothing that you can really buy. Like that people tell me how much I help them. And there's
Right.
so many things that I do for people. Like I have like 13 services under my wellness umbrella, but obviously
Yeah.
yoga. And under yoga, it's not separate, is breath work meditation. That's part of the eight limbs of yoga, right? And
Okay.
then I was trained in Nepal, because I went to Nepal twice for my yoga training and also
Right.
for sound healing certification. So all my bowls, like my beautiful gong, and this are all from handmade in Nepal. So
Wow.
sound healing is a 2,000-year-old methodology, and yoga is a 5,000-year-old methodology, and obviously nutrition coaching. And I
Yeah.
also um, I blend my HR into this, meaning like I'm a PHR certification, professional HR. I went to online to eCornell, so I have a certificate in strategic HR leadership. I have a certification in coaching to grow, executive coaching to the
Hmm.
grow model. So I've taken all of, my transferable skill sets and
Right.
my
Right.
client relationship management. And I've weaved it into so it's not just woo woo juju, but
Right. Right.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
an intuitive and I can do downloads.
Right.
And if someone comes to me for coaching, I can give you the messages, but I can also give you the strategy, the execution, and a game plan
I
too,
love
as
that.
well.
I
You
love
know.
that. All right, for the novice out there, you say you have 13 services,
Mhm.
um, and you gave like the how old they are and everything. What's the oldest service? Oh, what's the oldest thing you provide that's been around for all these years? What's one of your
Yoga,
Okay.
5,000
So
plus years.
so
Yoga.
tell us what yoga is for the person who has no
Yoga,
idea.
yoga comes from yoga, the Sanskrit word yoga to union. So, your individual consciousness to be connected to universal consciousness. It's not a religious thing.
Right.
I just want to be really clear about that because people do get that a little confused in their mind. And it's basically yoga or yoga is not like, hey, I'm just in downward dog. No, it's actually, it's not a physical thing first. It's
Okay.
a way of life. So under
Okay.
yoga, there's eight limbs of yoga, and I won't say go into all of them, but the point is that it's a way of life of learning how to meditate
Okay.
because that actually calms the central nervous system,
Right.
using the breath to
Uh-huh.
actually also expand your lung capacity, lower blood pressure, all these things. Obviously, it is physical movements as well. It's also under yoga is ahimsa, nonviolence, right? And
Right.
so there's so many beautiful things under the philosophy of yoga and
Okay.
to really I could study yoga forever and not know everything because it is so old.
Yeah. Is there
But
stretching too?
yeah, so yoga is
So
the postures. Yeah.
so it's the
So
posture. So
yeah,
so
asanas are
okay.
like the postures part of yoga,
So
of
you
course.
got it's mind, body, spirit, the whole
Yeah.
thing, really.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it
All right.
is.
All
It
right.
is.
So we got yoga. What's the chakra? What did you call it?
Okay, so chakra is
Yeah.
like chakras are like if you could see behind me, there's like seven main chakras and they're
Okay.
like your energy centers. So it's really
Okay.
chakra in
Uh-huh.
Sanskrit and
Chakra.
chakra is
Uh-huh.
wheel and it's your wheel of energy actually. So we all emit energy, that's just science.
Okay.
And so why I say chakra wellness because each chakra, each energy center
Hmm.
actually is related to something. So for example, and disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, but if someone has a thyroid issue, their
Right.
throat chakra may be either underactive or overactive, depending on what their thyroid issue is.
Okay.
So it can actually, be shown in the way that your chakra might be blocked in that situation. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Reiki, is that
Yeah,
related to
so
chakra? So
no,
it's
Reiki
no.
is from a different. I'm in the Usui USUI method, trained in
Okay.
that of Reiki, and
Okay.
actually came over from Japan.
Okay.
And I am a Reiki master, and so Reiki is channeling life force energy, and basically I'm a conduit. So it comes in through me, and then I lay my hands on someone, and I'm balancing. So let's say someone hypothetically like has hip pain,
Mhm.
my hands may automatically go there, and they may feel the heat generating as I'm
Okay.
channeling life force energy and doing that. And I actually have it in a lot of hospitals too
You
to
do.
provide
Okay.
relief, pain relief,
Yeah.
relaxation.
How is the life force energy and Reiki different from the chakra
Yes. So
energy?
our chakras are
Mhm.
we are emitting that energy, right? So
Okay.
yeah, so like
Okay.
if I was to take a pendulum and put it over your heart chakra, the
Yeah.
circumference of it, you would be moving. You're emitting that energy
I'm in.
out.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So you're sending that signal out. Think about like a signal on your phone, right? Like
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
sending it
Yeah. 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 Okay.
right? But
Yep.
the thing is like the channeling, so I am channeling, so think of like a tower, like a cell phone tower. So
Okay.
I'm
Gotcha.
channeling that and then
Yeah.
here. So I'm trying to make it related to technology so
Yeah. No,
people
it
get
helps.
it.
That helps. No, that helps. That helps. Because I knew
Yes.
there was a
Well, because
difference.
everything is
Yeah.
energy. And if you
Right.
think about energy, like think about your phone connects to the Wi-Fi, it connects to the cell phone tower.
Yep.
Like we are
Yep.
energetic
We are
beings.
energetic beings.
So
Okay. All
yeah.
right. So we got those three. What's another service you provide?
So yeah, so yoga, breath work, meditation, Reiki. I actually also do clearings for businesses and houses because what happens is your energy can get very stagnant. So if
Okay.
have studied Feng Shui or anything like that, there's certain ways that you can actually position things in your house to call in abundance and peace and love
Oh, okay.
that. But also what happens is, and that's separate than what I do, but
Right.
literally, their energy can get kind of caught up in corners and think about like, you ever like walk in somewhere and you're like, oh, this kind of feels weird, like,
Yeah, you
and
get that
so
feeling.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so you want to open your windows, you want to like burn things like Palo Santo, you want to play high vibrational music. So I actually will
Right.
Reiki each corner and I will play different mantras
Okay.
and that will clear the energy out. And it's so interesting because I've done this for houses and businesses, and people have literally felt the energy shift. They have
Oh,
had
wow.
wonderful things happen to them thereafter because think about it, you're just perpetuating in
Right.
this kind of like lower vibrational frequency.
Hmm.
We want to bring that to a higher level,
Okay.
especially your home, like that's where you are.
Right, right. Now, if you were doing a clearing at a home or an office, can you do it remotely, or you have to be
Yes,
in
I can
person?
also do it
You
remotely
do it
and
remotely.
I can do anything that I do pretty much remotely because it's all about like kind of tuning in and clearing the energy. The person there would have to be
Yeah.
physically doing some things then I would but I even if I do it in person, I have the person involved because I want them to infuse their own energy
Right,
into the
right.
space, right? So I'm
Okay.
like, you're gonna call this in while I'm clearing, you're gonna call in like abundance and peace and love, whatever you're looking to call in.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So what is you already told me one good feel good story with the two women who came. That was awesome.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging client where you were able to help them, but it was a little more challenging with your talents?
Yeah, so I will say that I was working with a doctor who was trained and went to basically a very well-known Ivy League
Yeah.
medical school. And so I worked with her for a couple of years. So she was referred to me, but it was trying to get her to understand, not like to kind of get out of the analysis paralysis, because obviously,
Right.
listen, she's very smart, right? High
Yeah.
IQ, obviously,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so kind of, but she wanted to come to me because she wanted to like increase her spiritual growth and things like get out of the left brain side and get out of the analytical side and get out of
Right.
like all of that side.
Right.
And so I did work with her for a couple of years, and actually by the end, she really embraced all of this. And if you actually see some actually Ivy League studies, Ivy League universities have done studies on yoga and breathwork and meditation. And
Okay.
obviously these methodologies are around for 5,000 plus years still
Right.
because they're working, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I
Absolutely.
think that she was one of my most challenging but most rewarding clients
Hmm.
because I really had to get her out of um her linear way of thinking, her left brain way of thinking,
Yeah.
her
Right.
like this is the way it is, this is the way it is. And then as I worked with her, she really did believe in the magic of things. And I do say magic. It's not that it's not backed up by science, it is, but
It
there
is.
is a
Right.
magical feeling of
Right.
when you feel so
Right.
good internally and when you meditate and when you breathe and
Right.
when you move a certain way and when you just feel lighter and happier. And that is the magic of,
Right.
wellness and health and yoga
Well,
and
that's
all
what
of
I love about this because there is a combination of magic and science, and
exactly.
uh, and it is real. I want to ask you a little about breath work because I came from the healthcare field, and
Yeah.
I learned that in real life, in our lives, we don't breathe that well,
No,
not the right way, right?
no.
And I remember like when you're in the hospital before they discharge you. Many people they give you this little plastic thing called an incentive spirometer. It's the thing you blow into,
Right,
and the little plastic bowl has to go to the top.
right,
It's about unloading from your lungs and then reloading, but it's that deep breath out, deep breath in. And they do that so we don't get infections when you leave
correct.
before you leave the hospital. And in real life, how many times have we been so stressed that we realize that we weren't really breathing? We were doing those short breaths, and when you finally take a deep breath, you feel relaxed. There's science behind it. So tell us about breath work and what the mechanism is in the body that actually does help, especially during meditation and stuff like that.
Yeah, so so breath work actually came from pranayama. So pranayama is one of the limbs of yoga, and prana is your life force energy, and ayama is extension of your life force energy. So, it obviously goes together. Like the
Right.
more you breathe, the more you bring oxygen. So the science is, right, you're expanding your lung capacity, you're
Right.
lowering your blood pressure, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system. And I've seen that thing because I've seen obviously my family members be discharged and get that little handy dandy thing and
Yep.
like do with
Yep.
the ball.
Mhm.
So the beauty of breath work is there's so many different kinds. So some of the ones that I like to do, like, and they make the Marines actually do this every day for 5 minutes to have them be calm, cool, and collected, is the box breathing. So
Right.
you like inhale for 4, you hold for 4, you exhale for 4, and you hold for 4. And another way is inhaling for 4, holding for 7, and exhaling for 8. And that will also calm uh, the whole central nervous system and really
Right.
expand, right? And what happens is, and I used to do this when I was under stress, I used to be a chest breather. So I
Mhm.
would like have shallow breaths from my chest, and my breath was not going down my chest, down into the rib cage and down into the belly. But one of the things I do teach people is how to actually work on that and expand all of that. And we need
Okay.
to be trained, because if you ever see a baby breathe,
Hmm.
a baby knows exactly how to breathe. The
Yep.
belly
Yep.
expands
Yeah.
and the belly
Hmm.
contracts, and it's
Hmm.
beautiful. And
Yep.
then what happens is life happens, and now we become all these like chest breathers,
Chest
and
breathers.
we're
Yeah.
perpetuating anxiety, and we're not
Right.
getting enough oxygen, and we're not calming down,
Right.
and we're stuck in the loop of, fight, flight, fawn, or freeze,
Right.
or high cortisol,
Right.
or sympathetic. And so the
Mhm.
beauty of it is, if you just look at a baby, you will
Yeah.
be inspired to like
Yes,
breathe.
absolutely.
And breath is free. It's like a free tool available for everyone.
And it doesn't take a lot of time either. So time, and cost. The so when and breathe. What's the difference between when you breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth? What's the
Mhm.
like? Sometimes is it always in through the nose, out through the mouth, or is it
No,
sometimes in nose, out nose? So can you
no.
tell us about
So
that?
if you're doing such an amazing question. If you're doing a hit class, if you're doing a class where you're like, your heart beats up and you're like, bam, 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 in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Okay.
Otherwise, it should be in through the nose and out through the nose. And that keeps your parasympathetic nervous system going. You're in a
Right.
calmer state.
So during meditation, it's in through the nose, out through the nose?
Yes.
See, I've learned it differently. You go to some of these meditation things and they do in through the nose, out through the mouth. Why do they do that?
So there's different types of pranayama. So
Okay.
Kapalbhati, which is a type of pranayama or breath work, is when you're like, but
Yeah.
you're trying to excel your energy. You're trying to get energy in. So,
Okay.
but the thing is, most people are already so ramped up that I teach more of the calming breath work. The way to do that is if you have someone who is low energy and
Yeah.
they're looking to generate more chi or more prana or more life force, then we would do some of those really intense. But that's not
Okay.
something you want to do and then try to go to bed, because now like your body's like, hey, I'm up, and like, let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's not a right or wrong way, but there's the timing of it. And the
Okay.
reason that I do so much of the in through the nose, out through the nose, and the calming one, and like I told you, the box breathing and the
Right.
4-7-8, or humming Brahmari pranayama, is wonderful for calming also the central nervous system, and
Right.
really good for immunity, is that we need more of that, because we are in this hustle culture and boop, boop, boop,
Right.
boop, 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 boop. So
Right.
I don't really try to teach that. If someone needed that because they're low energy and they
Right.
came to me and I say, okay, we'll do it in the afternoon and we'll have a cutoff time that we'll do it, but it's not something I'm going to recommend at night or
Right.
first thing in the morning, like when you're trying to like just wake up,
Right.
So
So
there's a
box
timing for it.
breathing is box breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, and it's
Yes.
4 4 4 4.
4 4 4 4 and slow, like
In
slow.
in through the nose, hold for 4, out through the nose, hold for 4.
Yeah, and
I'm
you
gonna
want to
try
make sure
that.
the belly expands on the inhale and it stays out on the pause, and
Okay,
then navel towards the spine as you exhale and stays in as you pause.
got it.
And you can even
I'm
put
gonna
your hands
practice
there to
that.
see, like,
Okay, I like that. All right, cool.
yeah.
Well, anything else I'm missing?
Anything else you're missing? Nothing. It's just like I just love what I do. I really feel that it's important. One thing I will say, because I
Yeah.
feel like it's a fad right now about sound healing, and I think it's really important to work with people who have done the proper studies because that can mess up your energy centers.
Right.
It's not like, sometimes people are just ordering bowls on Amazon and like, dang, I'm a sound healer. No offense to people who are interested, but I
Yeah.
just would really advise people make sure that when you're working within the energy field, when you're going to people, really ask them like, what have you studied and where have you studied and what have you done and
Right.
what's your experience and how long have you done? Like for me, I'm always a student, as we had talked offline.
Right.
I just went to Asia for 95 days,
Right.
60 of which I was alone. I was already Qigong certified, but I went to Chiang Mai because I wanted to study with Grandmaster Montauk Chia and really expand my knowledge with Qigong,
Hmm.
and really bring more of that to my clients, which is another old methodology, about 4,000 years
I was
old.
gonna ask now. Now I had two. I wanted to ask about sound. What's it called? Sound
Sound
bound.
healing.
Sound
Sound.
healing. Tell me about sound healing and qigong, and then we'll wrap up because I want to hear.
Okay, so sound healing
Yeah.
here. So I'm gonna do something for you. I want you to listen to this.
Okay. I don't think we could hear it through the.
So can you hear that?
I couldn't hear it through the Zoom.
You can't
No.
hear it?
No.
Okay,
It's
well,
okay.
I will do it for you another time. But
Okay.
what sound
All right.
healing does,
Yeah.
it comes and it actually massages your molecules. So think about it,
Oh.
2,000 years ago, they didn't have like pharmacies and doctors. And even 5,000 years ago, they didn't have pharmacies and doctors. So
Right.
all of these methodologies are still present today because they do have an impact in health. And
Right.
so what sound healing does is it really calms the body, but it also massages the molecules, and it's a way to balance the energy centers, which I was, mentioning before. And each energy
Right.
center is um, related to emotions and also
Okay.
physicalities and things like that. So each bowl I have is for each energy center. So let's say somebody has
Okay.
a root chakra block, I would use that bowl on them. So
Okay.
sound healing is a wonderful methodology that helps to bring the body back into equilibrium, helps the body to become balanced, massages the molecules,
Hmm.
and is phenomenal, like phenomenal. And
Okay.
I work a lot with seniors and they feel so good. Like I do sound healings for seniors because they're
Right.
stressed out also,
Yeah.
and they just feel so wonderful after each session. Um,
Wow.
so I work with all ages from really young kids to all the way to like 90-year-olds. And Qigong is
Yeah.
like a way to cultivate. So Gong is the cultivate and Qi is the prana, like your life force energy. And we're cultivating energy internally. So by different breathing techniques,
Hmm.
different movements, different types of breath work within that. So that is also a very gentle way to cultivate your life force
Hmm.
energy inside your body. And there's
Okay.
also, they teach you different ways to take care of your five major organs. Each organ has a color, it has a
Mhm.
sound, and to really massage those organs and to detox. I don't think we all wake up and say, hey, let me take care of my lungs today. But if you did,
Hey,
it would be more
my
preventative,
liver needs some
right?
love today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's like something called like the inner smile, and like you put
Yeah.
your hands on your lungs and you smile left to right,
So what are
and
the five organs? It's
so
the.
the five major would be like the liver,
Hmm.
the spleen,
Uh-huh.
the heart, the lungs, and the kidneys.
Kidneys. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and so there's different exercises to stretch them.
I
There's
see.
different sounds for them and Qigong, and there's different movements for them. So that's another thing. So, I just think it's really important that you're aligned with the people. It's like even if you go to a therapist, like you want to be
Mhm.
aligned with the therapist, right?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
this is a sort of this is a therapy. This is
Yeah,
a
it
therapy.
is. It is. It is a therapy. So,
Yeah.
like when someone comes in, how do you know they don't know what they don't know? They don't know what they need. They know how they're feeling.
Right.
How do you decide what service is best for somebody based on what they say they're feeling?
Yeah, so basically we have an intake meeting. So part of the consultation when they come to me is that we have an intake meeting and I sit down and I discuss with them like, hey, what's going on in your life? What's happening? What are you hoping to gain out of today's session? How can I help you? And then we will do a very customized healing session. I usually do some sort of Reiki, sound healing, chakra balancing, and then we'll do a debrief, and then I'll give them homework
I
because
see.
the
Okay.
work needs to continue. You
Exactly.
can't just
Right.
pop in and pop out
No.
and be like,
No.
fix me. If you got to be committed, and
Right.
consistency and commitment is the way to wellness and to
Yeah.
a healthy mind, body, and spirit.
Exactly. And I was thinking about those two women. You help them de-stress, but then they're going to go home back to the life that caused the stress. They've got to do something to keep it going.
Right. And I did give them homework. So,
I love it. Let me
yes.
know if they did it. I want to know if they did it.
I am the
All right.
person who always
All
gives
right. I
homework. So
love it. I love it. Well, the audience certainly has captured the essence of Vinny, and it's at Taneja,
yes.
and they're going to want to get in touch with you. So, folks, Uh, Vinny's website is chakrawellness.io. So go to that. And also on Instagram, vinny.taneja. You can find her on Instagram. I got two final questions before we head out. All right. Here's the first one. You've got the opportunity of sitting down with 7 to 10-year-old Vinny and you want to give her advice about life. What are you going to
Mm.
tell her?
I'm going to tell her you're not crazy. I know you want to save the world. You may feel like the spiritual unicorn in school and in your family. You follow your heart and you will shine your brightness because God put a purpose in you and you know what your soul's purpose is. And keep believing and keep shining and believe in the good in the world. There is more good in the world and you are meant to do what you're meant to do. And don't let anyone steal your magic, clip your wings, or dim your light.
Oh, I love that. Dim your magic, clip your wings. Wait,
Don't
no,
let
wait.
anyone clip your wings,
Clip your wings,
steal your magic,
steal your magic,
or dim your
or
light.
dim your lights. I love that. That's awesome advice. All right. Now you're young businesswoman, young executive Vinny. You're sitting down with her and you want to give her advice about business. What are you going to tell her?
I know it's really scary. I know you feel like the rug's been pulled out from underneath you. I know you don't know what you're going to do or how you're going to do it, but just remember every day, do something small, medium, or large for your business. Stay committed, stay true to your values. Make sure that you keep manifesting because manifestation is real. Keep vibing high. And even when the lows are lows, remember everything happens for a reason. Everything is a lesson. If you don't dwell on the negativity, if you take the lesson and you learn from it and you keep charging forward and you keep being true to yourself and to your values, you will continue to make a difference and grow. Don't doubt yourself.
I love that. And I love when you said vibing high.
Vibing high.
I love it. Vibing high. All right. Well, Vinny, I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming into my life.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing. You're a wonderful human being. You're doing a lot of good for the world. So keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Ab-
Namaste.
Absolutely. Namaste. Take care, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and give us a review to help others find it. I'd like you to answer this question. Are you living the life you want to live, or are you living the life others want you to live? I'd like you to think about that for a second, because I strongly suggest you live the life you want to live. If you want to learn more about what I stand for and my services and how I'm able to help many men get out of their own way, please go to my website at www.profitcompassion.com. Feel free to also email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care of yourself and choose to write your own story instead of letting others write it for you.